Welcome to Brian's Narrations. We're going to jump right in because we've got two great stories for you. I'm a 52-year-old male. I have a daughter. Her name's Lily. She's 26. Her mother, Samantha, she's 48. Left us when Lily was a newborn. She was around 2 months old. I was devastated. I had to learn how to be a single father pretty much overnight. To say it was tough would be an understatement. Samantha left because she wasn't ready for motherhood, and apparently she wanted to travel, live freely, and chase her dreams. I never heard from her after that, nor did she ever reach out to Lily. Not for birthdays, not for Christmas, not for anything. I did my best to raise Lily on my own. I had some help from my family, especially my sister, but the day-to-day was mostly me. I worked hard to provide for her, gave her a lot of opportunities, and always put her first. Now, I'm not saying this to paint myself as some martyr, but I want to give you a clear picture. I was there through the sleepless nights, through high school events, through heartbreaks, and even in between. Now, when Lily was 15, I met my now wife, Karen. She's 50. She's been a wonderful stepmother to Lily, and I was cautious about bringing someone new into Lily's life, especially after what happened with her mom. But Karen was patient and so caring. Now, Lily and Karen got along well, or at least that's what I thought. Fast forward to early this year, Lily got engaged to her fiance, Jake. He's 27, and I was just over the moon. I've always wanted the best for her, and Jake seems to be a good guy. They've been together now for about 5 years, and I've been supportive of their relationship from the very start. When Lily asked me if I'd help with the wedding, I didn't hesitate. I offered to pay for the venue and contribute to other expenses as well. I wanted her to have the wedding of her dreams, especially since I've always felt guilty that she grew up without a mother. Now, I felt like this was my chance to make sure she knows how much I love her and how much she means to me. We booked the venue about 6 months ago. It was an absolutely beautiful location. One of those picturesque places with gardens, a ballroom, and everything she'd ever wanted. We made a lot of progress with the planning. The things seemed to be going smoothly until last month. Out of nowhere, Lily dropped the bombshell. Her mother, Samantha, reached out to her. Apparently, she found Lily on social media and wanted to reconnect. This shocked me. I've never spoken ill of Samantha to Lily, but I've always made it clear that her mother chose to leave, and that was the reality of it. Now, for 26 years, there was nothing. And now, just months before Lily's wedding, Samantha comes back into her life. I didn't know what to think at first. On one hand, I was happy for Lily if reconnecting with her mother would bring her some closure or healing. Now, on the other hand, I was worried. I didn't trust Samantha, and I was scared she'd end up hurting Lily again. But I kept those concerns to myself. Now, Lily started meeting up with Samantha regularly, and I could tell things were changing. She became more distant from me and Karen. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to seem controlling or jealous, but it was hard watching my daughter somewhat drift away. Karen noticed it too, but she didn't say much either, just trying to give Lily space. Now, 2 weeks ago, things really escalated. Lily called me and asked to meet. I thought we were going to talk about finalizing some wedding plans, but instead, she told me she wanted to have a serious conversation. My stomach dropped. She told me that Samantha didn't feel comfortable attending the wedding if I, and especially Karen, were going to be there. Apparently, Samantha has some lingering issues with me, despite being the one who left, and Karen's presence would make it awkward for her. I was floored. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Now, my daughter, at my own flesh and blood, was seriously considering uninviting me and the woman who helped raise her just to accommodate her absentee mother. Now, I stayed calm, or at least I tried, but I asked her how she could even think about something like that. She said that she wanted her wedding day to be peaceful, and she didn't want any tension or drama. Now, I asked her if she realized that uninviting me, her father, would cause way more tension and drama than anything else. She started to get defensive, saying it wasn't about choosing one parent over the other, but that's exactly what I felt like it was. I told her that I'd been there for her entire life, that I was the one who raised her, and it wasn't fair for me or Karen to be pushed aside for someone who abandoned her. She said she understood how I felt, but this was her wedding, and she wanted to make the decision that felt right for her. I told her if that's how she feels, that I wouldn't attend the wedding, but this is where things get messy. I also told her that if I wasn't going to be a part of the wedding, I wasn't going to pay for it either. I wasn't trying to be petty, but I felt like I was being disrespected. Why should I pay for a wedding that I'm not even welcome at? I let her know that I'd be canceling the venue and withdrawing my financial support. Well, everything just broke loose after that. Lily started crying, telling me I was ruining her wedding and that she didn't know how they'd afford to rebook a venue so close to the date. Jake called me later asking if we could talk, and he tried to mediate. He said he understood my feelings, that it was still Lily's day and maybe I could just sit this one out for the sake of peace. I told him I wasn't going to let Samantha waltz back into Lily's life and take precedence over me and Karen. Now the whole family is involved. My sister thinks I'm being too harsh and that I should just suck it up for Lily's sake. Karen is fully on my side, but that's probably because Samantha's dislike of her seems completely unjustified. Some of Lily's friends have even reached out to me, trying to convince me to reconsider. They're saying that a wedding is about the bride's happiness, and if this is what she wants, I should respect it. Now I feel like I'm being gaslit here. I've given my life to this girl, and now she's treating me like I'm disposable because of her mother, who didn't lift a finger for her for 26 years, all of a sudden wants to play nice for a few months. Maybe I'm being too emotional about this, but I feel deeply betrayed. Lily and I haven't spoken since that day. The wedding is still a few weeks away, but as far as I know, they're scrambling to find a new venue and adjust the budget. Part of me wonders if I should have just sucked it up and gone along with it for the sake of keeping the peace. But another part of me feels like I had every right to stand my ground. It's not like I told her she couldn't invite her mother. I just didn't want to be uninvited to my own daughter's wedding. And let's be honest, the only reason Samantha wants back in now is because she gets to look like the doting mother on Lily's big day with none of the responsibilities or history. So Reddit, am I wrong for canceling the venue and refusing to pay for my daughter's wedding after she uninvited me? I'm struggling with whether I made the right call or if I've just made everything worse. What do you think? What should I do? Okay, let me give you an update. So after canceling the venue and I pulled out financial support, I didn't hear from Lily for a while. Things between us were silent, which hurt more than I could describe. And I guess I had hoped that maybe she'd come around and that we'd talk it through and find some sort of compromise, but that didn't happen. I found out a couple weeks later that Lily and Jake had managed to rebook a venue. At first, I was confused about how they could afford it since I had been covering the majority of the wedding costs. That's when I learned that Lily's mother, Samantha, had remarried a wealthy guy. Now, I didn't know much about it before this, but apparently he's well off and he offered to pay for the wedding. So I guess Samantha and her new husband really stepped up where I left off, and they ended up covering the venue and other costs. And when I heard that, it stung. I wasn't angry about the money itself. I was just hurt that Lily seemed to have replaced me so easily. Her mother, the woman who had abandoned her as a baby, was now swooping in and taking over one of the most important days of Lily's life, and I was just out of the picture. As the wedding day approached, I kept hoping that maybe Lily would reach out. Maybe she'd realize how much it meant to me to be there, to walk her down that aisle, to celebrate with her after everything that we've been through. But that call never came. On the actual day of the wedding, I stayed home. I didn't hear from Lily, Jake, or anyone else directly, but I did see photos later on my sister's Facebook. It was like a punch in the gut. There she was, my beautiful daughter, looking so radiant in her wedding dress, but it wasn't me by her side. It was her stepdad. Now Samantha's rich husband walking her down the aisle. I can't even begin to describe how heartbreaking that was to see. I felt like I had been erased from her life, from a day that I should have been a part of. After everything I did for her, after all the sacrifices I made raising her alone, she chose her mother, a person who walked away from her when she was just a baby. And I wasn't even a thought in her mind on her wedding day. I'm not gonna lie, it's been tough. I've tried to keep myself busy, but there's no getting around the fact that my relationship with Lily is fractured. Maybe permanently at this point. I'm on no contact with her now. I haven't reached out, and neither is she. Part of me wants to talk to her and ask her why, to understand why she made this decision, but I also know that pushing for answers might just make things worse. I've been trying to be fair to her in my own mind, to recognize that this might have been about more than just me. Now, Lily grew up without a mother, and no matter how much I tried to fill that void, I couldn't be both parents. Now, I know she missed having a mom, even if she didn't always say it out loud. So maybe when Samantha came back, Lily saw an opportunity to finally have the connection she'd longed for all those years. Maybe she thought she had to make a choice, and she chose the parent she felt she missed out on. It doesn't make it hurt any less, though. I'm not sure where we go from here. I don't know if we'll ever have a relationship again, or if this is how things are going to be from now on. I've been trying to focus on my life with Karen and keep my mind off everything, but it's hard to move forward when you feel like your child has cut you out of their life. What do you think, guys, on that one? Go to the comments and let us know as we jump into this second story. My divorce is finalized. You can check through my comments and post history. My now ex-husband and I have been separated for almost 2 years. Now, on November 23rd, 2022, exactly one day after our 1-year anniversary, one night before Thanksgiving, my husband got drunk, angry, and that anger turned to violence on the first time in our relationship. Now, I set our 2-month-old son down on the bed to swaddle him. My ex-husband grabbed me by the neck to force me to turn and look at him. I fought his hands off me, and he told me that I was overreacting. I put our son to bed in his bassinet and locked myself in the bathroom. I posted on Reddit on a separate account. I was afraid of him seeing it, and I wasn't sure if he knew my account name, asking what I should do. While I was responding to the numerous comments telling me to get out of there and get out of there now, he started banging on the door and screaming that he was going to kill me. I opened the door because I couldn't leave my son and stepson in the living room out there with him like that, so thankfully my daughter was at my parents' that night, about a mile away. He stepped in and punched me in the chest specifically to hit the heart, pinned it on the neck he had just given me for our anniversary. It left an imprint. He backed me into the closet, and I kept begging him to let me out and let me go. He asked me if he was worse than my exes, and I said, right now, yeah, you are worse. In hindsight, I shouldn't have exacerbated the situation, but he punched me square in the jaw. I fell right to the ground and broke the organizer drawer beneath me. He finally left and went to lay down. He passed out immediately. It was around 1 a.m. I was too scared to call the police myself because I didn't know what he would do if he woke up, and I didn't know if his gun was in the house or in the car. I knew my parents and sister wouldn't be able to help, so I texted my best friend who normally isn't up that late. But I thought there might be a chance, and she responded. I told her what happened. She called my mom and woke my dad, which in the commotion woke my sister. Now, my sister called the cops. My dad and brother-in-law got there before the police and got me and the other kids down to the car as they were pulling up. The cops immediately asked me about the mark on my chest. I hadn't even realized I had a mark yet. I told them that I'd been hit, and they insisted I go with EMS. Now, my father came with me, and my brother-in-law took the kids to my parents' house. I had a CT scan to ensure my jaw wasn't fractured, and it wasn't, but it hasn't been the same since. I already had TMJ, but it was on the left side. Now the right cracks. It's lovely. Now, my ex went to jail, and I suddenly had a 3-year-old and a 2-month-old on my own, and I had just started a new management position at work. I was hanging by a thread, but I made it. My ex spent the next almost 2 years making it as difficult as possible to get divorced, and I'm still working on getting child support. Since November 2022, he has not paid a cent for his son, who just turned 2 on September 10th. Now, I work full-time, so for 2 years I paid $2,200 a month for daycare while living with my parents, just so I can try to get back on my feet with my babies. It's finally happening, though. My baby girl started kindergarten, so she's not in daycare, and my costs are cut in half. I'm selling my car as my grandmother left me hers, which reduces my monthly costs by another $500 a month. And my divorce is final, which means I will get less runaround from child support and finally get the money I need to help support my son. I've been putting money away for 8 years for a down payment on a home, and once I have the opportunity, I can put me and my babies in our own home. I can get my name back. I can be myself again. Thanks for everyone who reads this. It's been nearly 2 years in tears and therapy and fighting and screaming and begging and trying just to get a divorce from a man who wanted to kill me. Finally, I am free.